Appreciate you tuning in to today's Brandon Clay Show. Got a lot to recap. We're actually going to open the show up with the Coach Reed live recap from last night. I had a chance to go to Boulder, Colorado. Carl Reed was also there. What an atmosphere. I said on the show last night, it felt like the club right before the madness happens, right? The good part where they're playing the number one single in the country. Everybody's vibing and having a really good time. And Coach Prime, his roster put on a show. Whether you want to talk about Shedeur Sanders, who's playing at a Heisman level, Travis Hunter, who needs no introduction for most of you, but maybe the best player in college football today, definitely a two-way guy who's getting it done both sides. Jimmy Horn Jr., fantastic. Wester receiver, Jordan Seaton on the line. So many good players on that roster. They really have added depth even from a year ago, and definitely turned it over from when Deion took over Jackson State. Had a blast. Last night we were on the show. We talked about that. We talked about the rise of Indiana football, something to keep an eye on as they've risen into the top 15 in the country and could play spoiler inside of that Big Ten conference here as we get late in the year. Two major factors there. You got a big Ohio State Penn State game coming up this weekend. A lot of cool things happening. Now you start taking a look to the backside of the season and the college football playoff. Where does Boise State fall? Good win for them over UNLV. A lot of great things happening on the football front. So stay tuned. I talked to Carl a little earlier. He's got a couple wrinkles up his sleeve here as we get into the daylight savings time starts to hit, those kind of things. I'm really excited about it and see kind of what he's got for us as we head down the home stretch of the season. But make sure that you check that out on YouTube. You can go to my X page at Brandon Clay PSB, Coach Reed Live. Hit play, watch us, add us, comment, whatever you want to do. Make sure you tap in. We revealed a big partnership with Adidas last night on all my socials. We actually got it done during August and soft launch, so to speak. But last night was the hard launch with the rollout. Big thanks to Adidas Earn Director Chris Hansen, Xavier Johnson, our National Skills Director, Tony Lugardo, our Digital Media Coordinator. They allowed me to get it turned over pretty quickly. It was a sizable project in terms of the content we created. Brandon Mayweather, head coach at Lanier, I was actually able to jump in and get a workout with a couple of his guys on Friday, which was really cool. Not something I normally do, but they allowed us to get in there and work out with those guys. And one of those guys, Amari Morgan, 2025 kid, just still so much left on the ceiling. Talked about him a little bit on Friday, kind of a prelude to getting in there, working out with him. I know he's good because I wanted no parts of guarding him, right? I tell people all the time, You've arrived when I no longer want to play against you, right? There was a moment where I no longer wanted to play Maya Moore. I no longer wanted to play Andrea Carter. I no longer wanted to play Kayla Davis. I no longer wanted to play Chloe Kitts. I no longer want to play Kate Harper. Amari Morgan, I don't want to play you. He came down the lane at one point, started to take off. I'm running with him, and I just veered that way. I made a business decision. He looked at me and laughed, and I laughed right back at him like, you're not getting me, my guy. But he's smooth, man. He can really play. I like what Mayweather's got this year. A little bit younger maybe than you're accustomed to seeing from a Lanier high school team that he's coaching, but a lot of talent. Those guys compete. They made me have to play. I'm not in shape for that, man. I'm still a little sore now. It was fun. It was great. Hopefully get a chance to get back over there at some point. Had a blast. Big shout out again to Brandon, but also to Bill Green and the entire Lanier coaching staff. Great group of people, man. If you get a chance to rap with them about basketball, make sure you go check out a game. Catch Brandon after the game. If they win, I'm sure he'll give you some time. Maddie Leach out of Jamestown, Virginia. Thomas Davis, the director of Exodus, actually is the one that put me on Leach back in the springtime. And then Scott Johnson, our West Virginia Thunder program director, has been really, really good too in connecting the dots. And they do a great job with some graphics and visuals and things like that on Leach's behalf. Picks up an offer from James Madison. She's a kid that I thought and still think is going to continue to be a stock riser throughout the winter. I predicted a breakout summer, very similar to what I saw from Adelaide Jernigan the summer before. Leach had that. Probably added a double-digit offers if we counted them all by hand. And I still think that there's probably more to come as the class starts to thin out in terms of some kids at the top of the board. I mentioned the Harpering. Maybe it's an Autumn Fleary who now is down to 12. Madden Greenway will start to head that way. Kids at different positions in 26 start to narrow, maybe make some decisions on getting to a 5 or an 8 or a 10. And some schools now start to maybe prioritize different recruits as a result of that. Leach is one to keep on the board. I love everything about her. She's tough. She's a competitor. She can make shots. She can handle it. I think she's an off guard at the next level. Reminds me a lot of Lydia Ledford that plays for Southeast All-Stars. There's a lot to love about both of them, and their recruitment reflects that. I thought they both had great summers. Moving on, I was, like I said, in Denver over the weekend. Before I went to Baltimore on Saturday night for prime time with Dion, had a chance to stop by Chris Hansen's Elita's Earned Camp there at Riverdale Ridge High School. Big shout out to Bree Critton and Greg Critton and the whole crew over there for welcoming us with open arms. You know, Bree's a top 15 kid in the country, played like it. Bryn McGoy committed to Washington in the 25 class, just getting back on the floor. So much to love about her game and her upside and where she can go, especially as she continues to get back into game shape. Tina Langley, David Atkins, Aaliyah Goodman, although they're going to love working with her, man. McGoy's got a chance to be a special one. Two other ones I want to mention, Jayla Stokes out of California, and then Tegan Snodgrass out of Western Kansas. Two Brandon Clay consulting clients like Leach is. They just get stuff done. I really like the fact that Stokes can push the tempo, make the game play at her pace, right? Continuing to be efficient, assist to turnover ratios, and then creating steals without fouling are two places that she'll continue to grow, I think, during the course of this high school season into next spring. And then for Snodgrass, just continue to play more and more basketball. She's good enough. She's going to be a kid with length already, in that 5'7", 5'8" range. It's crazy how much she's grown over the past 12 months since we trained in Oklahoma City, Tulsa area. And she just puts the time in. Both her parents are school coaches, her and Stokes. No shortage of training work that they've put in. It was good to get on the floor with them. They're two that I'll be watching closely this school season. Make sure you check out on 247sports.com. Brand new piece. We feature 6 college freshmen. As always, big shout out to my editor, Xavier Hamilton does a great job. Timely, even when I'm not, he picks up the pieces for me. Xavier, we thank you. Zamaria Jones, out of NC State, is a kid I think you got to keep an eye on. Obviously, there are 6 kids in that article. A couple of them strong. Edwards, Cambridge, those kids were ranked high. Jones was an All-American, but maybe a cut below them in terms of numerical ranking. But she's going to a place with Wes Moore at North Carolina State where Ashley Williams, Nikki West, I think they're going to put her in a position to win really quickly. They're going to put the ball in her hands. They're going to let her be creative. She gets to going and gets to bouncing a little bit and makes a shot or two and finds a play or two, gets Zoe Brooks on a bucket. I think you're going to blink and she's going to be an integral part of that roster unless I'm dead wrong. And that's happened before, but I don't think so in this case. I'm really looking forward to seeing how that plays out. Keep an eye on Zam Jones. She can really, really hoop for real. Going to Georgia, Southeast All-Stars, Kate Harpring. She's been outside. She just visited Southern California and then UCLA as well over the weekend. Just posted some cool pictures she took on campus there at USC. It's been just a cool thing to watch the ascent, watch how it's gone, watch the progression, and just knowing the work that she's put in. We were in the gym with her a couple of weeks ago. We mentioned Xavier Johnson earlier. He was in the gym with Harp, working on some things, getting her game right. And our brother Bobby pulled up. He's got a shot freshman at Marist. Keep an eye on Bobby Harper. I like him. He's got the moxie you need to be one of them ones. So keep an eye on Bobby. And Finley Parker, you talk about putting in some work. That kid's putting in the time at 27. She was on campus with Christy Curry and her staff, Pauline Love, Kelly Curry, Colson Thompson over there at Bama. Has had a long-standing offer from the Crimson Tide, but was able to get back on campus, kind of walk around, move around. So a lot of good stuff happening inside the Southeast All-Stars program, and really starts with those two. You see the logo here. Really excited about the partnership with Adidas, some of the things that will give our players access to. We talked about the European camp, All-American camp, could be overtime select. There's a lot of different stuff that Adidas brand is linked in with, not to mention the pro aspect, the Candace Parker, signing. Obviously, she's been with the brand for years, but in retirement now, kind of the president, so to speak, of women's basketball. There's a lot of cool things that are going on, and so definitely want to shout out Adidas and the partnership along with Southeast All-Stars. So until next time, Indy Gym is home. We're super excited. Big week of content ahead. Today's just the beginning. Talk soon.